Happy election day. Get out there and vote. Be sure to check your local town or city hall for any details on where you're supposed to go. And make sure, I hope you're already registered if you're in most of the states in this country. I'm going to send out my usual message that I try and put out around this time. And I'm recording this for the record on Monday, right before election day. I'm filling in for Ken Kale on WKX. Also be sure to check out the feed to get all the interviews I did on that. But it's important to remember the world's not going to end. If your candidate loses, you will survive this. You will move on. And yeah, things might be kind of shitty for a while, but the democracy's not going to die in darkness. The brown shirts are not coming to take your family. I don't buy the worst hype from either candidates' side when it comes to how they view the opposition. I'm not a centrist by any stretch of the imagination anymore, but I never buy the propaganda that comes from the doomsayers. Like, we hear it constantly that if you're following Trump, you're literally supporting Hitler and fascist America. He was literally president already. Yeah, he screwed up bad when it came to how the Stop the Steal movement went. I outright stated my lack of support for him during that. I'm only here voting for him today out of what I think is kind of necessity, because I believe foreign policy and domestic policy will be better, even though it'll be a very chaotic and messed up 4 years. On the other side, also, it's not going to become communist America, and they're not going to start rounding up all the Trump supporters and putting them in camps either, as many of the most fearful Republican MAGA supporters have been saying of late. It's going to be a messy economically, in my opinion. I think it's going to be really chaotic when it comes to it. I don't think she's going to do a really good job with managing the bureaucratic state. She's not going to do great with regards to Netanyahu and what's going on in the Israel situation. I think we're just going to keep dumping money in Ukraine, which I think is really problematic. And I don't think she has a game plan when it comes to anything. I hear all this nonsense out there when it comes to from Harris supporters. Like, well, look at her website. She has all her stuff out there. Most of it was lifted from the DNC and the Biden administration. She does not have a game plan herself, and that's important to realize. I believe we're just going to continue to see the same cabinet of terrible Democrats and neoliberals in there that are fine with foreign conflict and inflation, and I think that's really bad. But once again, we're going to see continuation. I don't see this massive escalation is going to pop up anywhere. I really don't see that these worst case scenarios ever come into fruition, because they never do. They never do. They said the same nonsense about George W. Bush back when he was in office. He's never going to leave. He's going to set up a fascistic state, and we're going to be stuck forever. They said the same thing about Trump when it was a bunch of morons that just invaded on January 6th. And it doesn't make sense. A lot of the worst fears that you hear from there. Focus on your state, local elections. I really think that's something we should really focus on the next 4 years, is make sure you have a governor and House people that you support and senators. Make sure that they're getting your day-to-day life, the things that literally impact you on a regular basis, are getting supported. We need to focus on whatever the governor is going to be doing and any changes that may be coming in the House and Senate. I think it'll be drastically different between Ayotte and Craig, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens when it comes to direct policies that here in Concord get done or don't get done, because that can have a lot of impact on business development, can have a lot of impact on how people feel about whether their government's serving them or not serving them. And most people overlook that. We get overshined constantly, obviously, by what's going on over in the White House. I was talking to someone last night saying that I feel like since I was 14, when 9/11 happened, since then, the president has been the highlight of every news cycle, no matter what they do or don't do. It's always the highlight, when that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be constantly worrying about whatever nonsense Trump said, whatever crazy CRT-oriented thing that Obama and his lackeys were putting out there, whether it's during the Trump administration, the nonsense he was putting on Twitter, now X, and Biden just, is he alive? Like, is he alive? Has he officially fallen into dementia? Like, where are we? What did he say? Did he really say that to some foreign leader? We have we've been stuck in this weird quagmire of focusing on the president when really in your day-to-day life, how often does it matter? We see all this nonsense, well, abortion, all these sorts of things, like that. Yes, that can be an important topic for many people, but that is not what's impacting when you go to the grocery store. That does not impact the wages you make, and the president ultimately should not be having much of an impact when it comes to any of those matters. It should be the economy and the markets having impact, and where you spend your money should be more important than whatever was posted on Twitter the day before. And I think we need to start focusing on that, because the world's not going to end. The sky's not falling. We're all going to make it through this together. And I hope, regardless of the outcome today, over the next few months, things level out. We realize we're kind of all in this together. I hate the idea of the national divorce. I don't think that's something that's good for anyone, but maybe there's a little bit of focusing on what's happening at the state level, where, yeah, maybe there may be tremendous changes from state to state when it comes to policy. And hopefully there's economic opportunities over the next few years where people, if they want to move to another state, there are those opportunities. Like here in New Hampshire, we have a housing problem. That's probably the biggest issue when it comes to economic development. And instead we're focused on whatever the Fed is doing with interest rates, because it's literally the only thing that's being done at the federal level when it comes to fighting inflation, which is terrible. Focus on what's happening here at home. Focus on your community. Get out of your house. Go touch grass. Find a church. Find a sports organization. Get out there and interact with your community. And maybe it'll feel a little less like the walls are closing in around you, figuratively, and in addition to literally. If you literally don't leave your house and you're just looking at what's going on your little square of light in front of you covered in glass. So, all right, NewEnglandTake.com. Like and subscribe. Good luck, everybody. I hope your candidate does well. I know it's wishy-washy, but I think sports, you should treat politics like sports. You support your team. You hope your team does the best. They lose. Shoot, I wish they did better. Maybe next time. All right, talk to you soon.